Hey guys, how's it going? I know I don't post nearly as much as I used to, and I'm sorry if the fan over there is making noise, but it is 90 degrees outside. I turned off my air conditioner for you. You please just say thank you. Well, it's summertime, and I figure I take some time to make a video and talk about something I know a lot about, which is fictional entertainment. See, a few years ago, I monetized my channel, and I thought that meant I couldn't have any copyrighted content, so I went ahead and started a sister channel to upload all these AMVs I made when I was like 13. I think they're total garbage, but people like them, and I started posting original content on this channel, or at least I continued to post original content. Once I moved all of my projects with copyrighted content, I lost all of my ratings. So, since YouTube's been having like a lot of problems lately, and everyone's getting demonetized for stupid reasons, guess what? I've been demonetized. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start using copyrighted content in my videos again. And that's gonna start with this fantastic score and the Incredibles theme. Because today I'm talking to you about The Incredibles 2. Spoiler alert, obviously. Like, come on. So I saw The Incredibles 2 the premiere night, day, whatever. It was the day. Basically, I'm just gonna lay down some pros and cons from the movie. The first pro, the animation is so fluid, it's very fantastic. I saw one of those comparison videos that compares what the animation looks like from the first movie to the second movie, and dear God, I did not realize that in the first movie, everyone kind of looks like a sick, fragile child. Like, I'm terrified now. But the second movie, everyone looks softer, everyone looks nicer, and the fact that the animation is more fluid allows for better, more complex and quicker action scenes, which I think just about everyone really appreciates in the sequel. Pro number 2, Jack Jack is fantastic. I'm probably going to be using words like fantastic or amazing a lot when I go with pros in these kinds of videos. Jack Jack, the baby in the family, he's the jack of all trades. There's a lot of metaphorical and symbolic reasons why he has a million different powers, but it's basically confirmed that Jack Jack has the ability to do anything in this movie. Edna kind of confirms that. He's basically a god and can do just about anything. But see, what's great about that is Jack Jack is a freaking baby, and the family has no idea he has powers, and they have no idea how to handle it. I would love to see a movie or a storyline that fast forwards into the future, and Violet and Dash are older, and Jack Jack's older, and, you know, all sorts of things could happen. They're all heroes. Jack Jack could be a villain because he's way too overpowered. Who knows? Another pro I felt was that Violet was more confident. This was established in the first movie. Violet was very closed off. She was the very stereotypical introverted, shy girl that, like, kind of hides in the corner. But in the second movie, she's more of a stereotypical teenage girl, which in some ways is good, in some ways is bad. I think she gets kind of annoying with her whole story arc in this movie, her being obsessed with this popular boy, and it's like, girl, you're 13, calm down. But I thought she was much more energetic, she was a lot more dynamic, she was a lot more confident in this movie, and that was just really fun to watch. It looked like she was really just in her environment when she was fighting villains and bad guys. She knew what she was doing. In the first movie, she was creeping into that the more she was using her powers, and it sort of just speaks to her character that Violet, she feels more secure about who she is, and she feels she has truly found herself when she gets the chance to truly just be a superhero. In the first movie, you see that as she's becoming a superhero, as she's thrown into the battle, as she has to fight, you see that she's sort of creeping into becoming more confident, but at the same time, it's a slow process and she's scared. In the final battle, there's a lot of moments where she's very shaky, and you see this expression of fear on her face. In the second movie, which isn't too long after the first movie, so it's kind of unrealistic, but it's still pretty cool, she fights and she has like the conviction Elastigirl has. Another pro is the new supers. Of course, the new supers don't have like a big storyline or anything, but the supers were really fun. It was fun to just see a bunch of new superheroes come into the mix. Obviously, Void was the coolest, which is why she got the most screen time. I remember my best friend and I, we saw that in the trailer. Dash was running through Void's portals, and we were just like, that is so cool. I can't wait for that to happen. I love the screeching owl thing that turned his head around. Crusher, whose power that's so on me. Like, his power is to crush things with his mind. I was very confused with that at first. I saw him crush a can, and I'm like, oh, so his power is telekinesis, cool. But no, his power is crushing things with his mind. Like, that's a very specific power. I thought it was kind of weird. The acid reflux, dude. Oh my gosh. That was stupid in the sense that it's like, that is meme worthy. I love that. Because like, when he first said, acid reflux, is it a condition or is it a power? When he first said that, I thought it was just an old dude with acid reflux. But then he started shooting lava out of his mouth. And I'm like, what the heck? That just caught me off guard. And I started dying of laughter because you see this old man shooting lava out of his mouth. The last pro I've got, the classic attention to detail that we got out of the first movie, is also in the second movie. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I missed. I thought it was very creative. And a huge example of that is with Elastigirl. Now, she's got this weird motorcycle thing that kind of splits in half, so that way she can stretch her body and still be on the motorcycle. You probably saw it in the trailers. There were several moments in the movie, and when she first does it, it blew my mind because I knew exactly what she was doing. Basically, she would make the bike split in half, and she would stretch her body out, and then real quick, snap her body back to normal, snap the motorcycle back together, do a wheelie, and in doing that, she creates momentum and propels the bike into the air. And so basically, she uses her powers and the functions of the bike to get the bike to jump. Now, all of this happens in the span of 1 second. I spent probably a minute explaining it, but I had to because that was amazing. And again, it just blew my mind when I saw that. And I really hope the camera doesn't stop because sometimes my camera glitches out and cuts off in the mid-sentence. I am not re-recording all of that. I'm sorry. But yeah, I thought that was so rad when I saw that in theaters with Elastigirl. Another major thing that I loved was the score. I love Michael Giacchino. I love his music from the original Incredibles. I love it from The Incredibles 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Doctor Strange. The man just makes really good music. Time to talk about the cons of The Incredibles 2. The story is not that great. It feels like this movie is played less for emotion and more for comedic laughs. And when it did that, it felt more like a sitcom than a Pixar movie. Brad Bird is a fantastic writer. You can see that from his first movie, the first Incredibles. I haven't seen any of his other films, and I'm sure he's pissed off about that because he's pissed off that people only really care about The Incredibles. I've seen him say it in interviews. But his big focus is family dynamics. I think a lot of great storylines get introduced in The Incredibles 2, but there were too many storylines. And as a result, they don't get properly resolved. A huge example of this is Bob's storyline in the movie. Bob, or Mr. Incredible, agrees to let Elastigirl go on and promote being a superhero. He's got to take care of the kids while she's away. He is so not okay with his wife going off and getting a job, the job that he wants to have, while he's got to take care of the kids. Now, a lot of people had a problem with this storyline. A lot of people say, Bob shouldn't have had a problem with it because this is 2018. For those of you who don't know, the movie takes place in 1962. A stay-at-home dad is still not a cultural norm. If you're all like, this is 2018, Bob is a sexist, you are putting way too much faith in the progression of our country. We are not yet at the point when it is a-okay for a dad to be a stay-at-home dad. In fact, I'm sure a lot of stay-at-home dads are not 100% secure about being stay-at-home dads. So I think what Bob goes through in this movie can be very relatable. It can be a very valuable lesson for people. A lot of people are also mad at this storyline because they're like, oh my gosh, they showed Bob was an incapable father. I disagree. Again, this is another misconception. Bob is not a bad dad. He's just out of touch. He's not a stay-at-home dad. He worked at an insurance company for 15 years. He and his wife trade places, and now he's got to take care of kids that are his kids, but he spent significantly less time with. And as a result of that, he doesn't know their routines. He doesn't know everything about their lives. He doesn't know all the intricacies, the little quirks that go into taking care of each child. And so Bob is thrown for a loop. This is not to argue that she shouldn't have gone out and done the job and he shouldn't have stayed home. I think what Brad Bird was trying to do with this storyline was teach a very valuable lesson. Edna says it in the movie.
Done properly, parenting is a heroic act. Done properly.
And that's the message Brad tries to communicate through the parenting aspects of this film. So basically, I think what the lesson was supposed to be here was that, yeah, parenting is not easy, and you can't take it for granted. And you gotta give up your pride, because that was a problem Bob had, was that he was too prideful and he felt like he should have been out working, not Helen. This storyline had great potential, and you expect that to be the lesson, right? We never get to see that lesson unfold. His story arc ends right before the third act, and it's resolved, quote unquote, by Bob taking a nap and getting a little help from Edna and Violet, and after his nap, the whole storyline's just dropped and we never speak of it again. These kinds of valuable storylines were dropped throughout the whole movie. We had story arcs that were either cartoonish or sitcomish, or we had very great story arcs with great potential that just kind of died and fell short like that. Everyone complains that the villain was not as memorable as Syndrome. The motives of the screenslaver made sense. I thought it was good, but I agree the villain is not that memorable. There's a few ways I think that this could be solved. While I enjoy like 90% of this movie, you'd probably have to sacrifice a side plot or two to make more room for Elastigirl versus the Screenslaver. Maybe keep Screenslaver's identity a secret and spend more time with Evelyn's character and have her true nature come out, so Elastigirl becomes more suspicious as time goes on and she figures it out with the audience. Or keep the identity a secret from the characters but not the audience, but again provide more screen time so that we can get a sense of the character. Or have Elastigirl learn the identity, but like in the first film with Bob keeping a secret from his family, Helen keeps this secret from her campaigning team while she gathers up more information. I think those are all great ways to solve that little villain problem, which is not really a little problem. Dash doesn't really get character development. In fact, I think his character devolves in this movie. In the first movie, Dash kind of just felt like a basic kid. And there's nothing wrong with that. He was classic. You enjoyed watching him. In this movie, it kind of felt like Dash is just an idiot. And I think that plays into the fact that they were playing this movie more for laughs than for valuable lessons, which I think sucks. But don't get me wrong, the laughs are, for the most part, effective. The laughs are very effective in this movie. It's a very entertaining movie. It's very fun. I think it's just disappointing that it doesn't hold a candle to the first film. Dash probably suffers the most from this because you see this kid and he's just an idiot. He's just doing all these stupid things. Like, he's drowning the furniture because he thinks the new house is cool and you can open up the floor. The whole thing with the car was really stupid. This is one of the side plots that could have been thrown out and replaced with a better Helen versus Evelyn storyline. Dash is like, don't you want your car back? He's like, missile launchers! And he's about to blow up a bunch of people on live television. I get it, he's a kid and everything, but he should know better, and he shouldn't be that stupid. Final con. Brad Bird did not seem to really want to make this movie. For years, people are like, where's the sequel to The Incredibles? I never asked that. I was fine with the way it ended. Brad Bird was fine with the way it ended. For many years, he said, I will not make a sequel to get more money, because that's the way the movie industry works. He always said he would make a sequel if he gets a good idea. And based off of all the cons I've just listed, I like to think that Brad Bird was likely pressured by the fans and the studio to make this movie, and he didn't really get a chance to really flesh out as good a story as the first movie. But you just see interviews and it just seems like he didn't want to make this movie. And with people asking if there's going to be an Incredibles 3, he just gets mad. It comes off more of like, oh, but I'm tired, instead of like actually being mad, but you can tell he's mad. Sure, he probably had a great time with this movie. He probably isn't 100% mad. I assume he was pressured into making this movie and he didn't really want to. And again, he just cares about the art and he wants people to appreciate his art. And he's upset that people haven't been appreciating his movies and just want him to make a sequel to The Incredibles. So those are my pros and cons of The Incredibles 2. It's not a bad movie. It's not a great or amazing movie either. I think the first one was absolutely phenomenal. Everyone either says The Incredibles 2 is horrible. It's not. It's good. It's full of action and comedy, and it's just a fun, exciting watch. And then there's other people that are like, The Incredibles 2 is amazing. It was well worth the wait. It's so much better than the first movie. It is not better than the first movie. I've been watching clips of the first movie on YouTube. There are clips that are better than the whole sequel alone. But that doesn't mean the second one is bad. I think people just get caught up in the hype when they say it's better than the first one. I encourage you to go see it. I really just thought it was a lot of fun. Everyone's been waiting for the sequel for 14 years. I have not been waiting for a sequel, like I said. I was fine with it ending the way it ended because plenty of movies end on a cliffhanger. For instance, my short film from the CUNY Film Festival that won an award, Angel, that ends on a cliffhanger, and I don't plan on making a sequel. Here's the exit screen while I advertise some stuff. Like I said, watch Angel, to subscribe for more content. Make sure to check out Bro Time with Mo Time. That's a Christian podcast that I do with my best friend Jacob, and how Christianity can fit into the new generation. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.